And I think the point is,
Can I come in?
my grandparents moved here in 1950. The first time we experienced a flood, never on this proportion, it floods the roads, is 2010. Right?
Was it the first time?
Correct. So my
From
point
1988?
How much are you?
1958.
From 58?
Yes. So my point is simply this.
Climate change.
Well, no, let's hold on. Right?
change.
Let's hold on. My point is simply this. The reeds, and the reason I'm saying all these things is because I ask myself,
He's the engineer, by the way.
if it doesn't flood for 60 years and then it floods, okay, you can say it's a freak event. But look, but then it floods in 2010, then it floods in 2020, then it floods in 2021. So to me, that says the frequency is A, now increasing, and B, the first time it flooded, it took 10 days of the rain we had last Friday for it to flood. On Friday night, it took 4 hours. So the point is, it's been getting progressively worse. We've been saying this is a problem. It's flooded 2 years ago. We're trying to engage. And if the answer is, oh, it's climate change, there's nothing we can do, then what?
No.
I mean, I spent the whole week cleaning up. Thursday morning, it starts raining again. And I go into a panic because the water level starts rising. Now you ask yourself, are you going to live like this forever? And what alternative do you ask the question, do you move? What?
Madam, I'm a pioneer of this area.
Okay.
This house was built, I bought it. The house was still built, but I paid my deposit. And what the lady said, the apartheid, I was born in Safai.
So
I
you
grew up
were-
with
it was
Kasazan.
forced relocation.
You know what I mean? Forced.
Oops.
You understand what I mean? And we were forced to come and stay here. But by that time, but my argument is this, all the time I was complaining to our present government to say these reefs are coming nearer towards our street. And it wasn't like that before. These reefs were quite deep in. From my stoop, you could see the main road in Soweto. You could see it. Now with these reefs here, just go much further, 2 years ago, his house got flooded. 2 years ago, Lena's house got a light. The house at the back of her got a light. The house next door got a light. Through what? Somebody put a match on the trees. And the wind was blowing fiercely that day. And got, unfortunately, my sister's
Staying
house.
around here as well.
Okay, yes, thanks, Mayor. My house
How are
is
you,
next
Zurina?
door. Hi, how are you, Councillor?
I'm good.
You next door?
I'm right next door. So what Mr. Singh is saying is absolutely correct. But I think for me, I'm just going to fast forward to 2010 and just say, when this thing first happened, actually a day today, 2010, which is really on the 17th. So fast forward to after that, it was 2020, 2021, we've had a couple of months.
End of 2020, actually the 2nd of January.
Yeah, so what we had done, we created a group. I was here at the time. So we created a group called Peacock and Abu Aswad Bridge with entities on there. Raymond from the JRA left the group. Every time he complained, it was like, this is not our issue. Back and forth, fast forward this last month, November.
Yes, 3 weeks
Teresa
ago.
would always send an early warning about floods on the same group. Unfortunately, nobody heeded the call. Councillor Petula Lafamela arranged an on-site meeting with the urban inspector for Ward 10, including entities. The only people that pitched the Sabichisti that normally comes to the rescue in our community and our region. And the ward committee, no, nobody came actually. It was myself and the councillor. And I think Wiseman from EIST. So Mayor, you requested a report and you get nothing. But emergency services, Tunisia from the last, provided 2 risk assessment reports. All departments were covered, Teresa Sivasa.
When was this?
It was November. I actually have it on my
18th,
phone.
something like
18, my phone's completely died with no battery.
That's November.
Yes.
This November. It even went to Minister Barbara Kesey's office. We kept being told that the mining silt is coming and the water isn't flowing. So exactly what Mr. Singh is saying. If the water flows, the reeds would not be up to here.
Where is this report?
Pardon?
Where is this report? Do you have it?
No, I've created a report close to about 3 years ago. That was between just after 27. I think the first floods when we went government happened in 2017. And we looked at the whole problem, but obviously from a Section 79 point of view. Basically, you've got reeds, and the reed build-up has been happening for a number of years. But your biggest problem is the mining pumps right at
New Canada.
yes. Right. If you look at the M1 freeway on this side, that mine dump has been completely taken up to the ground. But the sand still flows into the river, and that's why you've got this problem in Sun Street in River Lee, in the sense that the silt is built up to a level where the water, in fact, gets stuck at that area. If you look at the concrete freeway coming this way, all those bridges are blocked. And you'll see from the Burgwood side, in other words, if you go to Bosmont, on your left-hand side, you'll see that mine dump has also been reduced. But all the silt ends up in the. So what happened over years is that you've got these reeds that are on the way, and obviously it stops the sand from flowing freely on the river itself. So it started settling, which basically means you've got about a 2 meter or 3 meter height of silt, and the water buildup is what is causing that. So down here, obviously the reeds started building up to this end, but what stops the flow of water is in fact the reeds right now. In 2018, I got into contact with provincial roads and the mining department, very Mantas's department. They promised to deal with the problem at a national level, because this is not a local government competence or either a provincial competence. Never responded. I think that's where your problem is. Because this whole area, in fact, is full of reeds, and obviously you've got, if the water comes down this way.
So,
Ramsey, this is the place you were talking about, right?
In fact, we're talking everything from Sun Street and River Lee all the way.
Okay,
So-
so similar
And
problem.
this, we discussed it in the
Yeah.
coming here is the mining company. Here is the mining company says that it's going to cost about 500 million to be able to take this, and it's too much. And we don't have the money.
January must
so.
hold them accountable.
The follow-ups, in fact, the follow-ups were
yes, Councillor.
the follow-ups were that they were looking for water license. Obviously, for anybody from province to work on the river itself, it needs a water license. That was the last we heard of it. So your problem is much bigger than that.
Yes.
In fact, you've got to create a job through the disaster management so that we get all these departments.
So Mayor, what happens now, because we're in rainy season, right? If you could,
No, just finish
Okay,
it.
okay.
Right? What I'm going to say is, what you just said now, we've been trying to communicate through the channels for the last 10 years, because the intervention, when it floods, the intervention always is a TLB that comes across here and tries to dig a trench. And we say to them, guys, think about this. When we flood, it floods all the way to Mayerton. So we've been trying to communicate this, exactly what you say, that it's a bigger problem than this. And coming and cleaning Abu Azwa Drive or digging here is not solving the problem, okay? So are you saying then, because we were told that the mining stuff is coming that way from sort of Carltonville side, you're saying it's blocking the river course there? And up
Well,
there.
you just have to drive upstream.
Yes, but
and you'll
what
see
you're
the
saying
results.
makes perfect sense, and we've been trying to communicate it.
We brought DMR to come and inspect some of the areas. They wrote a report, but everything is dead.
So, on
Ma'am,
that,
one thing I want to say, we got storm drains here. And the storm drains is meant in such a way that I understand is when it rains, get into the storm, water will push out onto the flat. I accept that. But ma'am, while you are here, gentlemen, you are right what you said. If you go to every storm drain right now, it's all blocked with the reeds.
Okay.
but I think
starting
the
there.
bigger
Can I just
question
say
I want to
something?
ask is, what now? What happens if it storms tomorrow?
the stormwater channels, okay, with the drains, they're all open. They're not closed stormwater channels. But the lack of maintenance over the years, where you are told we can't do anything, we can't get a jet, we can't push back, so we just live with it. So right now, what is the way forward? What do we do? Where do we go?
Maya, it was the same thing I spoke to you about. That
This is
the
the place.
family, the community is frustrated. As you can hear it, she's a former PR councillor, and I'm gonna say this while I'm recording. The poor former PR councillor has been getting attacked for something that she's not at fault. Councillor Zadi Jainuddin has been trying his utmost best with Councillor Nokutula from the Friday to explain to the community the situation. Maya, I won't lie to you, this community, it's not the first time. I've been here before, previously, to cover the floods as well. This community doesn't know what to do anymore because they keep saying we're getting flooded from 2010. I mean, like I explained to you, I'm not blaming you, councillor. I'm not blaming the MMC for infrastructure. Like they're saying, this thing is not something that's just new. It's been ongoing.
Can I give you came on Friday, you don't know what happened to us. So I live in this home. Can you see how short am I? So we thought that the people that are in single stories should be rescued. And first, because my husband, he had cancer, he had lung cancer stage 3. And we in a double story, we're safer. Not realizing in 15 minutes, the water had risen. On our first flight of stairs to this level, 3 steps from
Yes,
the top.
correct.
You weren't here.
I was not sure, yes.
So I could not get, I had a spinal operation. I could have, so the boat is here. Look at where am I? So how did I get into this boat? They came in, they tried to get the boat. I want you to come and have a look at my home. It could only go into the lounge. It couldn't turn in the entrance. We had to wait for a smaller boat. Thank God there was a floating chair that eventually the guy from the boat and my son held the chair down because now the water's here. How do I get here? Climb onto this chair, get into the chair for me to get into the boat. So where I am, my life was at stake. I would have drowned. Then my son had to, because you could see nothing here outside of the house, the water being so high, the rescuers could have then walked into the rockery. So we had to take them out, lead them the way out. And as he took one step, because the water was so freezing, he couldn't breathe. Now, here's a mother witnessing possible me going, my son going, and my husband, they can't breathe. Go out in that way and come back. I said, people ask me, I don't want to stay here. But I cannot sell my house to a family. There's a resident next to Councillor Matala's house. There is little children, my grandchildren were going to come here on Friday. And tomorrow if a little child drowns in my house and I'm a God-fearing person, how do I live with my conscience?
Okay. So you asked the question, what happens now? I think we all appreciate that that's a long-standing problem. It started years ago. And we also appreciate there's many tiers of government that need to get involved in resolving this. MC says there's a meeting this coming week at a city level.
Yes, and we're going to involve the province as well.
Okay, so between the city and the province, we'll pull all the relevant stakeholders. But DMRE needs to get in because these mining houses must be housed to account.
Yes.
And
the people's lives worth 500.
yeah, so
If that's the case, then pay everybody here.
yeah, so we're going to drive that response. But I need you to appreciate that it's not something the city can resolve on its own. But we promise to be your voice and your advocates and to drive the response and pull everyone together. One of the things we're doing is we're establishing a disaster management center, a permanent one in Joburg. So that work started this week. And part of the reason is we need to be able to identify all these areas in the city. If we know there's flooding coming, that's what the Western Cape is doing. They evacuate people even before the floods come, not after the fact. Because they know where the problem areas are, and when they anticipate floods, then they activate a response. So that's how we ought to function going forward. But this problem affecting all these communities needs all the relevant stakeholders to come in and take responsibility. So what we can promise you now is that following this meeting, we'll activate that. and knock on the doors of the national government so they can do their job as well.
Mayor, can I just say,
Yeah.
you know, and Lena alluded to it earlier. On Friday when this happened, it was the community being us and volunteer organizations and people from the rest of the greater Lenasia who came and evacuated. There was not a single disaster management person here. You know, which is also adds to the level of, I don't know, desperation. It's almost like you just abandoned and forgotten and, well, carry on with your life.
Yeah, we
You know?
do need to tighten things up, and that's what I'm
Somebody
talking about.
got in the stress mode. Somebody got a heart attack
And
and
died the
died.
next day.
You know, are you aware of
That's
that?
outside my house.
Because of stress.
He was talking
Ma'am,
to
I'm,
us.
I'm 80 years of age. The water was knee high in my bedroom. And if you ever look at my stoop, it's quite high. I never expected the water coming. Not even at the front door. But when my wife was start screaming, Dad, come see the water's coming in. No control.
I can't. All I see is this visions of me.
It was just trauma. A lot of trauma.
It is traumatizing. We can also offer counseling, but counseling is not going to solve the problem. It's just going to help you cope for now. Ultimately, we must do this process that MMC is talking about. Hold everyone to account and keep you updated on a regular basis until this is sorted.
Believe us.
Get updated from the MMC regarding this. How are we going to be in the loop for this? Because there is no communication. So we can say, okay, they are saying something and
Who's
we
your
need to
counselor?
hear.
Councillor Nokatula Nofumela
Eventually, house, yeah.
All right, we'll set up
and PR Councillor Zadi Jenudin.
Councillor as well.
Yeah.
I think maybe you just need to see the visuals of the homes, you know,
Yeah.
to understand what we've gone through. Apart from the emotional trauma, the financial losses, we thank God we're all alive, I must say. Using boats, using canoes. My helper almost had a heart attack. She had to be rescued immediately when the boat came out. And she's family, she's here for 40 years. So the emotional trauma is one thing, but God is great. As a community, we so together and we're sort of dealing with that. But even now, if you look at the water that's stagnant there now, Mayor, and the smell emanating from it.
But also the sewage. Sewer is coming.
The sewer was in our yards. We were stepping on toilet paper coming over. So apart from the national and the provincial, I can tell you there's lack of maintenance. The JRA, the JW, city parks. That has happened over the years. You got to beg for the stormwater channels to be open. Do you wait for the silt to come there? Had you had maintenance? We probably would have flooded, but you wouldn't have come to waist high where you are risking and trying to save your life. Councillor Dramite wouldn't have come to that.
Well, there was also a dam burst, remember that? Because the water was stable for some time, and all of a sudden in 15 minutes it's risen. So the effect, but the effect comes from right on top there.
But Councillor, from November before Friday, I have the proof. We've been calling out for things to happen with the entities on the group. And Raymond Moraes JRA leaves the group, finds every reason or excuse to tell you why he can't do something, but not a reason why he should do his job. And if you're feeling so emotional, I mean, all the officials, you know what? The fact that you get paid should motivate you to do your work and come to work. I'm sorry we are at that level, Mayor. You have to understand what we are saying here.
We're here to see where the city is not working for you and what we can do to fix it. So we promise we're going to fix it. At least we're here now to see what's happened. MMC is in the MMC for City Parks, one of the entities responsible for the water. Yes. But he's not the only one, he can't fix it on his own. So we need that meeting is important. It will kickstart the process. Okay, work with us. But what we need to be able to do is when we see these floods coming, to be proactive in doing evacuations before the fact, so that we don't wait for people to be trapped.
It was within 20 minutes.
Madam, one thing I want to say.
You could do nothing, Councillor Degama.
No, with predictive capabilities, you can see floods are coming 2 days, 3 days. That's what I'm talking about.
We have now formed our own committee.
Not you, the city. The city is.
Thank you, the city, because to Mr. Sibasa will put and say early warning, you see it on the news. But does anybody come to you and tell you know what, it's time to go now? Does anybody come? The stagnant water, Mayor, just appreciate, I'm saying, from August actually, if you look at my screenshots, I've been saying the levels are rising, there's no rain, but there's water. How do you explain that? We know the experts. Wiseman did come He came upstairs to his house. He gave the naughty report. But when do I get the report? The 9th after the flooding? That's really cold comfort to everybody.
That's what I'm saying. There's gaps. We could see there's gaps, and we are addressing them. So let's agree that we're solving the problem. Yes, let's agree we're going to be solutions orientated now, and we're going to work together, the city and the community.
But to get the background,
That's a very valid point. How do we keep the channels, or please explain what is our accountability process, and how do we
We'll work
keep
it
this
out.
going?
We need to work it out. We'll communicate. We'll communicate through the councillor. Where's the
Councillor
councillor?
Nokutula
I know she's
Nofumela.
gone home.
I'm the PR council.
He's the PR councillor.
We'll communicate through councillors. We need to sit and work out all the stakeholders that are required, right? What information needs to flow through to this community and the communication channels.
And our regional director.
yes.
Because he does
But
communicate.
can I ask that the footage that you've got of evidence of how high the water was and stuff like that you send that either to the regional director, okay?
But a few of that morning, 6 o'clock,
Yeah.
came up.
But I'm talking here about individual households that
No, we
took
will.
footage
I
and
think
stuff
we
like
took pictures
that,
of our single
so that we are able to build up a proper dossier around this
right,
issue.
what we're going to do, we have a chairperson of our, this is called Mosquito Valley, we have RA. He's our chair, they're all on the committee, so we like,
The biggest issue
just given our
was
chair.
the footage that you really want is not there because no one could enter the properties. So the footage when the water was high is really is not there.
Like when I got rescued from the boat.
That was all in an emergency
When it
situation.
was maybe 600 mils above the floor, but I've got a tape measure the next day.
But some of you have got cameras too, so
a meter above.
There was no electricity, nothing was working. Councillor de Gamba. And we have pictures. We will send it.
Yeah, Kiribonia is the stakeholder specialist for this region in the office of the mayor. So yeah, please make sure you also have her details. She is in the mayor's office, so she's got access to the whole city. And our stakeholder
send it
unit
to
handles escalations. So where entities are not working for you, or you've been trying, you feel you're not getting assistance, you're able to escalate, and we're able to then see how we intervene. So please make sure that Kiribonia's details are with
Our
the
chairperson of our
chairperson. Yeah. All right. So we will get back to you after next week's meeting. If we hear there's going to be floods, we will get back to you and say there's trouble coming. Let's rather evacuate our premises before trouble comes.
May I ask one question? Is the blockage open? If it rains again, will the water run?
So Joburg Water will need to make an assessment to
That is
give
what
us
we are panicking now.
the GRA Joburg Water will need to make an assessment to give us a report.
The
We'll
blockage
activate
places.
that.
Then
Yeah.
we mustn't have a backlash again.
Yeah.
But I can guarantee you that this water wasn't the rain of Thursday night. This was a backlash from all over. That the water came this way.
upstream, downstream,
You know,
north,
the
southeast,
water
and
can't
west.
go over that wall. Impossible. Never ever happened. Never came above my stairs. What happened there? It was a blockage. If the blockage is not open there, you're going to have the same thing tonight.
All right.
There's one thing, right? Way forward, there's a lot of talk, right? What we need to do is get our community, our chair, or someone involved with this whole thing. Part of the meeting, part of the parcel, everything. This point is having these guys doing their own thing.
Let's be directed by the Office of the Mayor and the team if they're going to allow at least 2 representatives to give feedback. I mean, that's the protocols we don't interfere with, but if you can allow, because we have all the information.
So she's a former councillor, so she knows, right? So we'll do our internal processes.
Yes.
We'll make sure that your representatives are informed on an ongoing basis of what's going to happen, and that information is also being fed into the council from your community, so that we'll create those platforms. All right.
Okay, there's no way the representative can be part of the meetings or whatever.
Yeah, there's spaces we can allow communities into. There's spaces where the city must be allowed to do its work.
Very
So yes, but we're alive to the fact that you need information and you need to be able to contribute. So that will make sure it happens. All right.
Okay, thanks a lot.
So you're welcome to come to my Madi's live.
And
Thank you.
That's all.
Yeah, we done with it. We just got the councillor the mayor.
Right, so I must say, many of the other cars didn't come water came this far. This is in 2021. My car was parked there. He's the young man next door with 2 children. At that time, he lost 2 cars, he lost 4. But this time, we can make. Yeah, get you guys there. Stay there. Yeah. Okay, so what you're looking at now, everybody thought the water wouldn't come up there. So it came up there. And it took like 20 minutes after 9 to 20 to 10. And I was being on back, and you turned around, like Muhammad was saying. The water was just gushing like a wave, okay? So we had 3 cars. The last car was my car, which was here, so the water came up to here. Okay? So this is. So things that were on, sorry, well, this guy is, I'm not going to make it apology for that.
Yeah.
Things that were here were floating. We're just back almost. Yeah. Hello, Gogo. So that was the level of the water here. Ask her how she felt in the boat. This is Veronica Gogo. Ask her how she felt.
How are you, Gogo? Kunjani when this happened? We were scared. And they put you in a boat to get you out.
Now she must go to Northwest and tell them she was in a boat.
What's on Northwest, Diana?
What else?
Okay.
That's my daughter. No.
Okay.
So this is where it's way right through. This is really like we just stood here and you just saw waves. And you just prayed to God and said, grant me the strength of the patience. We're going to get through this. And within 2 hours, the canoes and the boats were here, and evacuation, self-evacuation, and rescue teams from our community took us out of this. So this is what you see from here right up to the top. Some people had to clean up. Insurances allow that. We still got to wait. So we're still working in the mold, in the mud, because we just have to wait.
For your insurance.
Well, fortunately, somewhat.
May I answer you now, sir?
That's my husband.
Living here for 55 years. I was here in 1967. Right? We have for 55 years. Obviously, she mentioned the 2010. Importantly for me right now, the insurance is coming on Thursday. So yes, they will come and we can fortunately we insure. There are a few households down the line that are not insured. So we might get a payout to replace some of the damages, etc. And we rebuild our cupboards, and what happens in 2 years' time, 2024, if it happens again? We can't keep insuring, and fortunately, like I said, we haven't had loss of life. Just the one guy did die, just a shock of the condition that he saw his sister's housing. But the point at the end of the day is, what do? Rebuild, and then the next rain, you can't sleep at night. When it rains, I got up that Thursday night, 2:30, 2:45, 4:30 when you got up for prayers, looked out the window, there was nothing. Went back to bed at 4:30, and 4:45 we got a phone call to say, listen, you guys can't move your cars out.
No, we do understand. I mean, we had a meeting just outside here. Kuti, you weren't there. Oh, were you there? Yeah. So it looks like we'll push. The city alone can't fix the problem, but we need to get everybody on board. And we're submitting a letter. I don't know if you heard a request. We've submitted a request to province and national to declare local state of disaster. And that's going to assist us with coordination also across the different spheres of government. This is one issue that we need to highlight, and we need to get the relevant players on board, because otherwise this can't be your life.
Exactly.
No, we agree 100%. So let's see what we do. Let's push to resolve this. But in the meantime, like I was saying outside, if we can see there's a flood that's coming, we've got to be able to do evacuation before the fact. And that's what we need to focus on as an interim measure while we're getting the long-term, medium-term solutions.
The evacuation was done by the local
I heard.
emergency services. Yeah. They were there to help. You could have waited for Joburg.
Yeah. No, we heard all of that outside. So we've seen all the gaps and we will address them. Thank you.
Just like walk.
So
fast.
It's material stuff, but it's all you work all your life.
Yes.
To sort of prepare for your retirement, they have like over stadium packs, but you know, God's great.
Yeah. So really sorry. Very unfortunate.
What we need, due respect, what we need is action, not talking.
True. But from everybody. If the city acts on its own, then,
No, that's what we need.
yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
I messaged you, but I'm sure you. My phone is dead. I don't have. I just pick up my car. Never met your kid board. So I was in a place of this, you know.
Okay.
They've never actually spoken of any of the emails because to the office from members of the public.
Which email address do you use?
They can Maria Joe.
Very strange. It's very
I was just telling Kitty morning now. I gave her my details.
Yeah. Okay. And she'll follow up.
She said she's going to check.
Flattail corner Garrick or Garrick corner Flattail extension 8. Look, you know the name.
I'm gonna do that now. Maya, how are you?
Try and get them. Imagine I throw my head this age, waking up.
You phoned me at 6 o'clock to say
doing so much.
Don't stress. No, it's fine. Don't stress. You're not in the way.
The cars, at that stage, I couldn't take them out in the cars. Fast asleep, I'm lifting them up, buying them water, trying to get them out of my house. And they poor kids, they don't know anything. Can you imagine I throw my dust to them? Subsequent to that, we've heard nothing from the council. They've just been pushed from pillar to post, living in one hotel, moving to the next hotel. Whatever the horrible one. We've heard nothing from the council. We've had no reports in terms of like a cash fund or anything.
What do you require? Do you require housing?
So-
Temporary housing? What do you require?
So, yeah, that would be good.
We don't have anywhere to go to.
And, you know,
We're living on a day-to-day
It's
basis.
Maya's vehicle. It's Maya's car.
You know,
Is Zanella here? Okay, we'll get you a session on Sunday. Skidboni?
Every day we here, we come here, we sit, try to what we can.
Zanella from Human Settlement.
We're trying to see what we can salvage from our houses. It's getting you in a throat or something.
No, yeah, no, it's good.
Because what you see, if you long in the house,
She lives in it.
tour is actually in the toilet. You know, it came up in the toilet.
I was trying to understand what's going on.
We try to service whatever we could.
Some people
Some people have insurance, some people have contents cover.
I can
Other
see,
people
but I
are so old, they don't have contents cover. What happens to all their belongings? How do they carry on living afterwards? You know, and the thing is that we need
25 kids away from.
And he's missing me.
I got it. I'll send it to you. No, I do have it.
I got my things. Keep in touch with her. We'll send you all the visuals. We'll deal with her directly. It's you and the RLA because the council is in your due respect. We sent it to her. But you work and you work with Mickey. Yeah. He's our foil of court.
Came out to know where they
Yeah, no, it came out. It's on page 21. I think.
Next location, yeah. But we've got a sense of what's happened. I don't think we'll be able to see every single house. We've got another 2 locations. All right. Thank you very much. We'll be in touch.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.